the minimum wage last year, and it was a major disappointment to us all. But there's good news, because raising the minimum wage is our #1 priority for this year. And now it is my honor to introduce you to the leader who's going to help us get it done, Majority Leader Tom Bach.
So this is the top priority for Minnesota Democrats this year, maybe our top priority, to raise the wage to $9.50 and to get that work done and get it work done quickly. There really is no reason for us to wait any longer. That we should get this done in the first couple of weeks here. Putting money in the pocketbooks of working Minnesotans is going to get back into our economy, and it's actually going to grow jobs and make this state a stronger place for everybody. And that's what this is about. So, at the end of the day, what I want to leave you with is one other thing, and that is the fact that we really are focused on economic security across the board. But remember this fact as well: women in this state make up 60% of the folks making $9.50 or less. And if we're going to make this a strong state, it's got to be a strong state for every person in this state. Also, yeah, let's hear it. Also, remember that 80% of the people who are making minimum wage are either living on that money themselves or raising a family on it. So this isn't just about people making a little money on the side. These are real families who need to make more money to get by. And we can't let the Republicans or anybody else tell the people of Minnesota other than that. This is about real families. So it's time to raise the wage. We took the first step today. We took the minimum wage bill back off the table, as we call it. We appointed a conference committee, which Ryan is heading up, to move it forward quickly. We're going to have some quick meetings with the Senate. Well, there goes my voice. It's early in the session. Quick meetings with the Senate to get this done, work out the differences, and pass this bill as quickly as possible. But here's the fact of the matter is, you got to keep coming back until we get this done. Keep contacting legislators, keep talking to your friends and neighbors, because your being here is how much work I've done. Your being here is how we got to this point already, and your being here is how we're going to build a much better Minnesota going into the future for every person in the state. So thank you for being here. Again, I do want to acknowledge also Representative Phil Kahn is here with us. And a person who is doing incredible, tireless work, not just on this issue, but dozens of issues that make a difference for Minnesota families. Representative Aaron Murphy, Majority Leader. So thank you for being here. We really want to continue to work with you. We're going to get this done. Thank you.
Following the action by the House, the Senate appointed the conferees to the conference committee on the minimum wage. We expect to have a very short timeline in which we get that bill on the governor's desk. Now, there are other things on our working families agenda. We have the Senate Tax Committee working on making improvements to the working family tax credit so these full-wage workers can get additional tax relief from the state. now. Leave now.
Well, thank you, everybody, for being here today, and thank you to Governor Dayton and to Representative Winkler and to Senator Eaton, Senator Hayden, and most of all of you here at the Capitol. This wouldn't have happened today without your voices and all the hard work that you put into making sure that Minnesotans are going to get this wage, probably not even what they deserve to be paid, but they're going to be paid a meaningful amount for doing hard work across the state. If that's what this really is about, this is a strong minimum wage bill for Minnesotans. We're raising the wage to $9.50 for more than 300,000 Minnesotans, and we're responsibly indexing that wage so that the wage keeps up with the cost of living as we go forward, and that people don't see their wages immediately begin to fall once they get this raise. So it's a great day for Minnesota, and there's been a lot of discussion about what the economic impact of this wage is going to be, what this law is going to be. I think it's going to be absolutely positive. The more money that people have in their pockets, the more they spend in their communities, the better off we all are going to be. I also think that there's another more important question that we have to ask about this bill, and that's about what we value as Minnesotans. The bill, in our efforts together to raise the wage for 300,000 working Minnesotans, says that in Minnesota we value hard work. It says that in Minnesota we don't believe that anybody should work 40 hours a week and live in poverty.
That's right.
It says that in Minnesota we believe that pulling workers out of poverty and into a growing middle class is what's going to make our state stronger into the future. That is what success and prosperity in Minnesota means, that there's a strong and growing middle class, and this bill moves us in that direction. And we should be really pleased with that. It's important to remind ourselves this is a great day and an important step forward, but it's also important to remember that our work is not done. There are still lots and lots of Minnesotans who are struggling to remain in or get into the middle class. One of the things that we have focused on for the last year and a half is making sure that we're providing the tools for that opportunity to grow. Freezing college tuition, investing in education, making sure that our tax system is fair for all Minnesotans. That's really great work, but there's more to be done. We need to pass the Women's Economic Security Act. We need to continue to build our stronger economy by investing in things like broadband and the new jobs and better education, not just in the Twin Cities, but across the state of Minnesota. Economic development investments that we had made last year and that we can make again this year are going to make a big difference for Minnesotans to continue to grow our economy. But I really, at the end of the day, this should be a day of celebration. And I really want to thank all of you because, the folks up here that get to sign the bill, that get to press the green votes to say, yes, we want to raise the minimum wage, that's a great thing for us to be able to do. But the reality is, without the hard work over a year and a half or more to make this happen by people out in the streets, knocking on doors, making phone calls, this wouldn't have happened. This is a testament to what it means to truly mobilize and do our politics right in Minnesota. You did it right this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for being a part of the celebration, and thank you, Governor Dayton, for your historic action today. We're finally getting Minnesota caught up from one of the absolute lowest minimum wages in America to one of the strongest, most progressive minimum wage policies in this country. This is truly a big moment for Minnesota, and we're grateful to all the hard work and tireless resolve of many advocates and community leaders that have pushed a higher minimum wage for more than a year. But what I also want to talk about this moment that's much bigger than today. Far important than the celebration that comes this summer. Because in August, when the minimum wage workers across Minnesota will see their first raise in almost a decade. That's when the bill signed into law today will start making a real, meaningful difference in the lives of thousands of Minnesota workers and their families. As we gather here this afternoon, right now, there are minimum wage workers in our communities doing the work we all depend on each and every day. They're in our restaurants where we eat, in our stores where we shop. They're keeping our kids safe at daycare, and they're helping our children learn at school. They're supporting loved ones in hospitals, and they're providing care for our seniors with people with disabilities. but when they're done doing an honest day's work, many times working more than one job, far too many will face the reality of not being able to make the rent, or buy groceries, or fill up their gas tank. And far too many working parents will earn so little for their labor that they'll be forced to accept food stamps and other food shelves to feed their children. That's not economic justice, and that's not the Minnesota we want to live in. So we celebrate the progress here today because we know that 950 will mean that 325 Minnesotans will get a raise that they haven't seen since 2005. But even as we celebrate this victory, we must recommit ourselves to fighting for the working poor, because our fight is about more than simply raising the wage. Our fight is about raising up people. What good is it to raise the floor on wages if the ceiling of opportunity is down? Every Minnesota has a right to a living wage. Every Minnesota has a right to housing, and every Minnesota has a right to fair opportunity. That's what we're fighting for. That's the finish line. So let's build on today's victory, and let's keep Minnesota moving forward. Are you with me?
Opportunities, an economy that has slowly been sinking underneath their feet. If we do things right, today is the day that economy starts to rise. It's the day that Minnesota workers start to fight back, start to win back the right to a decent life in exchange for a hard day's work. That is the promise that Minnesota has made for a long time, and it has been a promise that Minnesota has failed to deliver for too long. Today, Minnesota workers, 357,000, start to see their wages rise. But the true power of this bill, the true power of this law, Governor, is that it stands for something much bigger. It stands for the proposition that workers can take the leadership role. They can take the role in their unions. They can take a role in their communities. They can take a leadership role in their churches. They can take a leadership role in nonprofits, in communities of faith.